The lighting is what it's going to be. Eventually I will have something on this wall because I've wanted to put something on this wall since I've moved in. It's very beige. That's why I have added my whale shark and Odile the seal. Hello, my name is Lysander Blackwood. You don't know me, but I will eventually come to know you. And this is the author newbie tag, which I've not been tagged in, obviously, so I'm tagging myself because I feel like this would be a really good first video, like a good little get to know me kind of situation. So let's jump right into it. 1, how did you find out about authortube? Like most people, I've watched a couple of videos in this tag, and like a lot of people, I simply put in the YouTube search bar, what is the process to become traditionally published? And if you're like, that's a very weird way of asking that. That is how I ask a lot of my questions on Google and YouTube because of how the algorithm works. I try to be as specific as possible. And the first video to pop up was Alexa Dunn's videos. And then from there, I discovered Lindsay Puckett and Christy Ann Jones and Lizelle Samsbury? I'll put her actual name here because I can't remember which one it is. But I sort of dug into all those videos, watched a lot of Alexa Dunn's videos, rewatched them. She posted a really good trad pub series, I feel like it's longer than a couple of years. My brain keeps wanting to say 2016, 2017, and it might be a little bit later than that. And for the time that those videos were recorded in, that I did not watch at the time because I was in high school, very good advice, still very good advice, but trad pub has since changed, which is why I try to watch newer author-tubers who write in similar genres that I write in. Which leads to our next question. Number 2, what genres do you write in? I primarily write speculative fiction, so horror, sci-fi, fantasy, creepy, crawly books that are set in our universe but off. For example, the current book that I'm writing is currently titled Well Done, and it focuses on an anorexic who is recovering from her disorder and what happens when she turns to cannibalism. Obviously that wouldn't happen in the real world, but in my book it feels more logical as it goes. So sort of lit ficky stuff, you know, like I jokingly call it like tender as the flesh meets boy parts. That's what I'm working on currently, just to give you a taste of what I am writing. Number 3 is, what is your preferred writing tense, point of view, and category of story? So the category being children's, YA, new adult, etc. So writing tense, I primarily write in present tense, no matter what point of view I am in. I think present tense lends itself well to my specific writing style, and I have a lot more fun writing in it. Granted, for certain things, I do love to write in past tense if the story calls for it. And a lot of what I write right now simply doesn't call for the seriousness that past tense kind of invokes for me. Point of view, I write in third person preferably. I love third person point of view. Delicious. I feel like I can describe things a lot better in third person than I can in first because I'm limited by the personality of the character that I'm in first. But I also write in first person. Category wise, I primarily write for the new adult audience. So 17 to 30 plus, I would say, is about what I write for. Granted, I also have dipped my toes a little bit into middle grade, and for middle grade, I specifically write fantasy. I only have one project for middle grade right now. I don't want to get into that right now because middle grade is kind of in a tough spot. That's also a subject for a different video because I love digging into children's literature and why it needs to be better. Not on the author's part, on the industry's part. Off topic, anyway. Number 4, are you a plotter, pantser, or plantser? I am a plantser. I have used, because you know, when it comes to authortube, everyone's like, use the save the cat beat sheet, use this method, use that method, you do this, you do that, you either don't or you do. It's extensive. I will say, I'm going to put myself out there. I do not like the save the cat beat sheet. I don't even like it for screenwriting. I don't think it's that good for, like, shoot me now, shoot me, you know, I am Jesus on the cross. No, I don't like the save the cat beat sheet. It is not as applicable to every narrative that people keep kind of pushing it as. I don't like it being pushed in every video. Like, no, not my thing. But I'm a plantser. I typically do a sort of like the typical, you know, tree, you know, this is the exposition, the rising action, the climax, I'll put in like a few key scenes that I know need to be in the book. I need to know where it's going. I need my little map. to know where it's going. And then I will write the rest of the scenes. I write linearly. I write in a linear order. I write from beginning to end. I can't do the out of order thing. I wish I could. I tried it. Not for me. Well, you gotta try everything once. You gotta do it. That's how I prefer to write a book, and I will kind of fill in the rest as well as. This is a bad way to write. I don't recommend this. When I know how long the book needs to be, my brain will sort of do the math, or I will do the math. Actually, I'm a big fat liar. I'll divide up, and then I'll use like a range to figure out where to put certain scenes. Once I hit a certain word count, I'm like, all right, we're at 15,000 words. We need a pinch point. We're at 25,000. We need to do another plot point. Bam! I'll do that. I'm getting really loud. I'm sorry. It's probably going to sound so terrible on this microphone. I'm so sorry. We'll deal with it later. But yeah, that's how I write. And I kind of wanted to get into that because Plantser it's a little vague, but that's how I like to do my writing. So it's half discovery, half roadmappy. I can't pants anymore unless it's a fan fiction and the characters are already there. But that's my Barbie doll time. We'll get into Barbie doll time in a second. Number 5, are you a self-published, published, or yet to be published author? None of the above. Yet to be. Sorry, I'm yet to be. I can read. I'm a yet to be published author. I jumped into the query trenches way too early with 2 different books. You thought I would have learned the lesson the first time. I didn't. I suck at revising. I suck at it. I'm not afraid to admit that. Revising is the hardest part for me because I am neurodivergent. And so once I hit the end in my brain, it's done. And I don't gotta do it. I don't want to do anything with it anymore. But it needs to be polished. I'm really bad at I need to figure that out on my own. Embarrassing, yes. Very embarrassing. It'll be embarrassing again when I have to enter the trenches within the next half year to a year. Have I made a fool of myself in agent inboxes? Yes. We can talk about that at a later date. But yeah, yet to be published. My goal for the new year is I'm going to try and hunker down with my short fiction writing, my short stories, my flash fiction, and I'm going to try to shoot for 100 rejections because I have a nasty habit of self-rejecting before I even try. And hence why I'm making this video right now, because I don't want to shoot myself in the foot before the race has even started. But yeah. Number 6, what publishing company, literary agent, that's wild, and or printing company are you represented by or use? If you're not yet published, what is your dream publishing house and or literary agent? I'm going to nix this question entirely for the following reason. I don't think enough publishing houses have enough anti-AI clauses in their contracts right now for me to be comfortable saying I want to be published gung-ho, I desperately, it's a dream to be published with any of them. Obviously, Big 5 is fantastic. I would vaguely say Big 5 would be stellar. I would have said Scholastic before they had layoffs, but I don't. It sucks. I hate when publishing companies have huge layoffs, and I know it's because AI is going to be rolled in, and I'm so afraid that's what's going to happen with Scholastic. Maybe not. I don't really know the tea there, but whenever I see big layoffs with these publishing houses, literary agencies, etc., it makes me a bit more wary. And the reason why I won't say a dream agent is because I have a belief that if I want something too much or make it known that I want something too much, it simply won't happen. The opposite of manifestation, if you will. And because of the way that things are right now, I don't know a stranger on the internet well enough to say that they are a dream agent. Because agents, you're looking at an agent for a lot of different things. Are they editorial? Are they sharky? Are they really good at nabbing book deals? Are they more personable? Are they one book and you need to keep being a career person? Or are they here for your writing journey? And that's really hard to judge sometimes and very limiting. Being an author, being a writer is very isolating, and finding TradPub info has been increasingly difficult. Granted, Reddit's pub tips make it easier, but I'm sure that everyone knows of the publishing Twitter, Discord group controversies. It's very hard to navigate that right now. So I can't say with my full gut, other than Bethany Weaver with the Weaver Agency. I like her vibes. I'm sorry, I really do. I love her vibes. I love her vibes. She's probably the closest I have to a dream agent. Granted, I don't write anything that I think she would represent. So it's sort of abstract, if you will. Number 7, what authortube related videos, I need to memorize these sentences better, can we expect to find on your channel? So something that I have thought about doing is talking about the general advice that is on authortube and breaking down how it either has or hasn't worked for me, and how I've implemented. I think I said earlier I'm neurodivergent, and as great as advice videos are, if the person, and this is not on the person making the video, but if they're just like, you save the cat, and they don't explain how they use save the cat, I can't figure out how to use it myself. And then when I try, I'm like, ugh, whatever. And I could have avoided that if they would have just told me how they use it. That's not their, they don't have to put all that on the internet though. We all have a process. They don't have to do that. So that's sort of what what I would like to do, is talk about my process, what works for me, and sort of that kind of thing, as well as sort of like weekly, like catch-ups, I guess, of what project I'm writing at the time, how much I've written during the week, and what media I have consumed, because I am constantly filling my creative well. I am constantly watching or reading something, whether it's, you know, anime or some random reality. I watch a lot of The Nanny, or like Bake Off, things like that. I would love to talk about why consuming content while you're writing, while not for everyone, can be really beneficial. Depending on who you are as a person, obviously, take that with a grain of salt. That kind of thing. This is not going to be a strictly authortube channel. I don't see myself making more than one video a week, or posting one video a week, because I have a full-time job, and that takes a lot out of people. Holy crap. But authortube wise, that is sort of what I would like to do, as well as sort of possibly like what's happening on publishing Twitter, because I waste a lot of time on Twitter. Also a bad habit I'm trying to nix out, but that's beside the point. Number 8 is, when did you start writing? Let me say the numbers first. Slow down, Lysander. When did I start writing? I wish I could say that I started writing as a little 3-year-old child with a big chalk. That's a lie. I didn't start writing anything until middle school. And even further, I would even go further as to say that I did not start writing with the intention to be published until I was 19. And I find it very of course, everyone has been writing for a really long time. Kids, we're natural storytellers. Everybody makes stories. But I didn't start taking it seriously until I turned 18. So I'll say that. I didn't start writing seriously until I turned 18. Number 9, what was the first story you ever wrote? The first story that I ever wrote, I can't remember what I titled it. It is still in my Google Docs somewhere. I don't know where. Effectively, the story focused on this teenager who worked as a grave digger kind of maintenance guy, and a child ghost that sort of haunts him, and how in the process of solving this baby ghost's murder, it brings him closer to community and self-discovery and whatever. It was very me, I would say. It wasn't great. I would argue it wasn't even good. The plot was not there. It was just vibes and a dream with a scrap of yarn tying it together. It actually started because of a Inktober thing that I had done 2 years prior with just one of the characters that I had developed. That one, it didn't go anywhere, and it will probably never see. I might revisit the idea later, but it's not seeing the light of day. Number 10. Did I say that previous one was number 9? It was number 9. Number 10. What authors have inspired your writing the most? This question is so loaded, I think. I always find this sort of question loaded. And yes, I think that's... I'm going to use inspire loosely, because inspiring your writing, I feel like writing is such a person-by-person thing that you can't see influences in it, if that makes sense. But sort of the authors who have made me tackle more or want to be published, so to speak, are Leigh Bardugo, Maggie Stiefvater, and probably, I need a third one. Would it be a cop-out to say Lindsay Puckett? Because I just mentioned her earlier. I read, oh my gosh, what is that book? The Good Witch. I read that book, and I literally sat down after I read it, and I wrote a really bad middle grade, and it was so fun for me and so liberating. But she inspires me to be more whimsical with my writing. I take my writing a little too seriously sometimes. She inspired me to be a bit more loose. Maggie Stiefvater really inspired me to write narrative that matters. And what I mean by that is, people being people in a story, not for the sake of the story, where they feel like I read The Raven Boys earlier this year, and just they all feel so teenager while also not being teenager-y due to the nature of the plot, and it worked. Like, there's something about it that just it meshed. And Leigh Bardugo, I read The Six of Crows in high school, and it's the only book that I have ever reread. I have a really big issue with rereading or rewatching things. It's a dumb thing, but she really has inspired me to like be more serious with my work. So there's that. Question number 11, do you schedule your writing sessions or simply get to writing whenever you can find the time? I don't schedule my writing sessions. I know. Allegedly, it's really good to schedule out when you're writing. Stephen King, I was one of the people, I think, who really was like, here's this writing routine. And then Neil Gaiman, who I don't really want to speak about Neil Gaiman. What a disappointment sometimes, you know what I mean? I don't follow a routine. My goal is writing 2,000 words a day. I sit down and I do not leave the desk typically until that 2,000 words in whatever book I'm writing is done. Pee breaks and stuff like that. But I'm not the kind of person who like, I need to get my cup of tea, I need my candle, I need my ambient noise. I have written a majority of my cannibalism book while watching Mina Lay video essays and Little Simsy building houses. So if that tells you anything about me, so anywhere that I get the time, whether it's between tasks at work or like my lunch break or whatever, it's just I write 2K a day, damn near every single day. So that averages out to 10K a week. But if I don't push myself to do it every day, I will freak out. So that's me. You know what I mean? Question number 12 is, do you type on a computer typewriter, write everything out by hand, or use a blend of those, and where do you write in general? I write on my computer, whether it's my PC or my laptop. I'm a computer girly. I get really bad hand cramps when I write on paper, so I can't do I'm going to write the first draft on paper, and it's going to be so artsy fartsy. I can't do that. My handwriting is also terrible. But I will, when an idea for a story is congealing for me, I will write out like character names and, this scene would be cool, this situation would be cool. I will write that in a little notebook that I keep at my like work desk. I have hiccups, I think. Very terrible stuff, hiccups. That's usually what I do, for the most part. And writing down basic plot on paper is quite helpful, but I like things to congeal. You haven't really asked about my writing process. The tag doesn't ask for like an in-depth writing thing. Maybe I'll do that for a different video. But I have to let things marinate in my head and congeal before I put pen to paper. I have like 5 different work in progresses where I've gotten up to 10K and I'm like, this isn't working. It needs to congeal a bit more, and then I'll rewrite. So, fun fact. Number 13, what are you most looking forward to now that you're a part of authortube? I'm really looking forward to connecting with people. I think writing, as I said, it's a very isolating activity. It's very sort of, if you don't have people in real life that you can meet up in cafes with, if you have the money to go to a cafe, because, money's tight these days. If you don't have people who write around you, I live in a very rural area of New York, and there are some writing groups, but they're kind of a drive away from me, and my car isn't the best, and, gas, and I work a full-time job. That, barring all of those things, it's very isolating if you are just jumping into it, especially because I find that certain writing communities can be very, I don't want to say exclusionary because that's not the word, but it's sort of like elitist almost, where if you don't know things you're supposed to know, it can be a lot, and it can be a bit intimidating, of course. Ironically enough, I wanted to record this video, and I kind of sat down with myself because I watched a lot of the Cozy Creatives videos, and I really enjoy her vibe. I enjoy her vibe so much, and I was like, oh, we have kind of a similar vibe. I think I'm a bit more obnoxious. Like, I'm kind of an annoying person. I'm not afraid to admit that. I talk a lot. Obviously, you're watching this video, hopefully. But this idea that I don't have to be I don't have to push myself to be somebody I'm not to have sort of a presence. Not a big presence. I don't crave millions. That's scary. That's really scary, actually. But I'm sort of looking forward to bringing a sort of cozy energy to authortube, perhaps even a more down to earth, if that makes sense. I don't shoot for the stars. And that's not to say that I'm not aspirational, but that's to say that I don't want to get my hopes up and then quit because I want too much. That's just the kind of person that I am, so to speak, but that's what I'm looking forward to. I'm looking forward to sitting down and using this video recording time as a space for myself to reflect on what I'm doing, whether or not this is something I want to keep doing. Because I feel like everyone says, I want to be a writer, I want to be an author, I want to be published, I want to be a screenwriter, I want to be a TV writer, I want to write things. And either they don't do it because they are afraid, or they do it poorly because they want to make money. Yes, I want money. Everybody wants money. I feel like I'm not afraid to say that. I'm not afraid to say that anymore. I think artists, writers in general, you know, there's that kind of trend on like art Twitter, for example, where it's like every artist looking forward to being commissioned by a furry because they have money. I don't care. I love like that kind of thing. I'm not involved in the community, but like those artists are talented. You can't deny that they're talented. You know what I mean? But it's sort of that kind of thing. I don't want to push myself to be this super artsy, serious person when that's not who I am. At my core, I'm quite ridiculous. I'm quite silly. And I wonder if this comes across in this video at all. I've had to re-record this a couple of times because my air purifier kept kicking on. But I'm trying to take myself less seriously. I'm trying to be more authentic to myself, and I'm trying to let go of a certain level of shame that I have had surrounding not necessarily my writing, but myself in general. Because I know I mentioned the ED cannibalism thing earlier, and that is it's very serious on paper. Writing wise, it is meant to be very satirical. It's making fun of the 2010s era of like vegan YouTube content and like where we were at in terms of like understanding how eating disorders work, and like forums and Tumblr and Pinterest and all that crazy stuff, because that was the period of time where I was really ill. And looking back on it, I'm like, that was so ridiculous. What was I doing? Super off topic, but sort of to summarize, I suppose, for question number 13 is I'm looking forward to bringing my voice to the community. I'm looking forward to possibly connecting with people that I obviously wouldn't have connected with before, because writing is so quiet and so lonely. And I can't keep talking to my Gen X coworkers about what I'm writing all the time, because I think they're getting a little sick of it, you know what I mean? But yeah, so that's kind of it, I suppose. I'm planning on, I want to try to upload once a week. That might not happen because I work a full-time job, and I'm trying to be realistic with myself. So bi-weekly is probably more likely. And I'm not just going to be doing authortube content. I am really big into analyzing media, specifically TV shows, films, superhero content especially is like my special interest. I have been balls deep in comic books since I was like 15. I'm planning on doing shorter videos because this is quite long. This is 20 minutes, and I thought it was going to be a short 5-minute thing. And then I yapped. That's what I do. I'm a yapper. I talk a lot, and I talk quickly, so I try to be more concise, but I suck at that, so it's fine. I'm planning on doing those kinds of things. Beyond writing books, I'm also dabbling into screenwriting. Learning that form has been a struggle. Holy crap. And I'm sort of, I want to use this place to talk about my interests. So it's sort of more for me than it is for a group of people, if that makes sense. I watched a lot of videos on how you grow a platform. And I don't think that level of commitment is for me. I don't think that I want to be an influencer, if that makes sense. And a lot of the videos I was watching are geared towards like, here's how you become an influencer in 3 months and things like that. That's not really my goal. My goal is sort of to use this as a place to come to every week and just talk. So that's the vibe, I guess. This is already really long. I'm going to try and edit it down. That was disgusting. I'm so sorry. I like gagged on my own like spit. Terrible stuff. that's sort of what I'm hoping to bring to the table, though, is sort of a nice cozy vibe where we meet up once a week and we yap and we talk about the books that we're reading and the things that we're watching and what we're writing. As I said, I'm a really big believer in keeping your creative well as filled as possible. I'm always writing, reading, and watching something, whether it's like John Wick. I watched all the John Wick movies last week and they were great. I love the John Wick movies. I'm co-opting things that like straight men have. They have John Wick and Game of Thrones and I'm like, that's mine. I'm taking it. I'm going to watch it and analyze it now. It's my turn to partake in your things.